A woman is talking on the phone when a boy arrives. He asks the woman to hold the balloon for him. She continues talking on the phone, and the boy cuts the balloon's thread. He then becomes concerned about his balloon, and the woman asks how that happened. At that moment, the boy's father arrives and gives him another balloon, but that one also ends up leaving. The boy then thinks about how happy his father and woman seem to be together. He then says that it was the woman's fault that he missed his birthday present. The woman apologizes to the boy and asks what she could do to me to repay him. He asks if the woman could come to his birthday party. The boy's father then stopped him and said it wasn't necessary, as the woman seemed to be a very busy person. She said it wouldn't be a problem. She says that she just needed to go buy a present for the boy beforehand and that she would meet the two soon. The man asks if she was sure, and she says yes. She just needed the address to meet with them. The man said that she seemed to be very busy and that he didn't want to disturb her. The woman said it wouldn't be a problem and that she just needed the address. The man then said that the party would take place right there and that she could meet them around 4 o'clock. She then said that she would attend and says goodbye to them. The man then says goodbye to the woman, and the boy says he got his father a date. The man asks how his son could do that to his boss. The boy asks why his father said that, if he didn't want to date his boss. Then, it is shown that before the two were walking when the man began to observe the woman from afar. The boy asked his father to buy him some balloons for his birthday, and the father says yes. He said that he always tried to please his father, but his father always thought it was bad. The man will then smile as he watches his son. The man tells his son that the woman would not come as she was a very busy person. At that moment, the woman arrives and apologizes for being late. The man then said no problem and handed the woman something to eat. The boy said he wanted to invite the woman to his party at his house. The woman asks, what party would that be? And the man said it would just be a little get-together between friends. He then asks if his boss didn't want to go. She said he didn't need to call her boss and said he could call her Fernanda. The woman then asks how old the boy was, and he said it would be his 9th birthday. He says he was 9 years old and didn't have any friends, and then asks if the woman was married. She said she was not married but divorced. The boy said that was good, as his father was not married either. The woman asks what he was talking about, and the father says that his wife had died when their son was born. She then said she was sorry. The boy says that the two had already overcome that and asks his father if he could play. The man asks if he wanted to be accompanied, but the boy said he didn't need to because he was already grown up. The man said that his son was growing up too fast and that he didn't believe it. The woman then asks how long the man lived there. The man says he lived there for about 9 years. The woman ends up dropping the food, and the man apologizes as he hadn't bought napkins. She apologizes for being a little clumsy. The woman then asks what company the man worked for. He said he worked at one of his companies. He said the woman might not remember, but he was the supervisor of one of them. She is amazed that the man is a supervisor and asks what he supervises. He said he supervised the employees and made sure everything was running smoothly. She then asks if the man was part of the administration. He gets a little embarrassed and said that he was actually the cleaning supervisor. She says what she understands is that the man said he liked his work a lot because he felt he was helping the company that way. The woman said that was good, and the man asked her what she liked to do besides work. She said that she loved listening to music, but that it had been a long time since she had laid on the grass and looked up at the sky. She said she didn't even remember what it was like anymore. The man then said they could do that, and she didn't understand what he was saying. He says the two of them could lie down on that wonderful grass and look up at the sky together. The woman then agrees and tells the two to do it. The man, then, is very happy with that, says that he had thought that the woman would not like the idea, because she was very well dressed. The two then lie down on the grass, and the woman says she really missed doing that. She then starts talking about how she worked so hard that she couldn't enjoy the little moments anymore. She said that, in fact, she almost lost the company where the man worked. The man says that for him everything was going well. He says the woman was a good boss and that she managed huge companies. He says that, in his view, it was all her partner's fault. He asks, how is she going to get a deal with China without taking into account fiscal actions? She said she thought the same as the man, but soon wonders how he knew about it. So, he says he had studied economics at college and a master's degree in international business. Hearing this, the woman is in awe of the man's talent. He said that he had learned a lot, but that unfortunately he didn't have the opportunity. He said when he arrived in that city, he soon met his son's wife and had him. He then tells me that unfortunately there has been an accident and he has had to look for another job. He says he had to get a job where he didn't have to work so hard, because he had no one to leave his son with. He said that all of his family was in the city where he came from. That he had no way to go to them, and neither could they help him. Then he says that the job he has was very good for him, as he was able to work in the morning and take care of his son in the afternoon. The woman then says she would help him. She said she would talk to human resources. The man said that it was not necessary here, but the woman said that it was so. For he had so many diplomas that it was a waste to work that way. He thanks the woman, but says the schedule would be too complicated for him. She tells the man not to worry about the times, he would help him. She then says he would speak to human resources. The man thanks the woman, but says it wasn't necessary. At this moment, another man appears and asks if that was why she left the meeting. The other man asks if everyone in the company already knew that she was seeing the janitor. She said the other man could say whatever he wanted as he would never get his job back. He says that, for little of the woman, the company would go bankrupt. He then says that he came back to conquer what was his and he wanted to destroy the woman. The man then asks him to calm down, but the other man asks who he was. He then said that it wasn't important and that the other man needed to talk to the woman respectfully. The other name then says that if he wanted to, he could send him away. He said he could fire him, he could beat him, and still nobody would say anything about it. At that moment, the little boy arrives and tells the other man not to hit his father. The other man then asks who that boy was and the man tells his son to stay away. The boy then ends up fainting and the man is very worried about him. The man then tries to wake up his son, but to no avail. He then tells the other man that he wasn't his boss, and if something happened to his son he wouldn't want to see him again. So you keep trying to wake your son, but you can't. He told the man to get out of there. The man then continues to try to wake up his son, but this time, the boy starts to wake up. He then helps his son to his feet and the woman asks him if he wanted her to call a doctor. He said it wasn't for women to worry, because the boy had a disease where when he got nervous, he ended up fainting. She asks what the boy had, but the man said it was just an illness and she didn't need to worry. The boy then asks his father to bring some candy, and he said he would get it. The man then asks the woman to take care of his son for 1 minute and she says that she would take care of him. She asks if the boy was okay and he says yes. He asks if she wanted to know what he had. He said he had little time to live, as his illness had no cure. The woman said she was sorry. He said that he would soon be living with his mother in heaven and that he didn't know how his father would be alone. And then he said that was why he chose her. The woman is surprised by that and the boy says that he had chosen her to take care of his father. She said the man seemed like a good father, and the boy says the woman needed him too. The man then comes back and asked how his son was doing. He then hands the boy some juice. He asks what they were talking about and the woman says it was nothing. The man is happy about that and says that every day it is getting harder for him. He then asks if they could go back to the party. They then carefully help the boy to his feet and the man thanks the woman for taking care of him. The boy would then just go for the candles, but at that moment the woman interrupts him and asks if he wouldn't make a wish. Garoto thinks about his request, which was for the two to be together so that his father would not be alone when he was gone. He then blows out the candles on his cake. Sometime later, the man and woman went to the boy's grave. The man is very sad about it. They then spend time there looking at the grave and crying because they miss the boy. The woman then said that now she knew what the boy wanted. She says she hopes she's fulfilling his wish. They then hug each other as they cry.